I'm currently driving to Barnes & Noble. I set a reading goal of 45 books this year. I couldn't get a third book after saying that I was only in there for one. I'm really excited to do more nonfiction stuff this year, honestly. That's definitely something that I am going to take a little bit to unpack. Hello, good morning. We are starting in the car because I am currently driving to Barnes & Noble because I don't have book to read and I want book to read. So we're on a mission right now. I figured that I would just kind of treat myself to a new book. I kind of ran out of books to read. I don't really have anything else in my bookshelf right now. Like, my roommates have books that are theirs that I haven't read, but like, I want a book of my own. So yeah, we're running to the bookstore and it's just kind of fun. It's a fun place to like spend my time, and I'm like out of the house, which I really wanted to do. And I haven't actually been to Barnes & Noble in months because I had a lot of books like TBR, and I've just kind of worked my way through that. So I need to keep reading. I want to make a more in-depth like video about my reading goals, but I did set a goal. I'm so sorry you can't see me, but like this is just what it has to be while I'm driving. But I set a reading goal of 45 books this year, and honestly I have been kind of lacking on that. I've read 4 and it's March 3rd today, so I do need to kind of get rolling with that, like note down some books. I'm only buying 1 today. I don't have the money to buy a bunch, so yeah, only getting 1, but I figure like while I'm at the store I can just like take note of some books that I do find interesting and that do sound like that would be a fun read. And another goal of mine was to read more nonfiction books. So I am gonna browse that section, which is usually a pass for me. So I'm just gonna see what they have, but I'm honestly probably gonna get like a fiction, like a literary fiction or like sci-fi book. That's been like my vibe recently. So yeah, it'll be fun. I'm excited to see what we get up to, but I am pulling into the store now. I am pulling into the store now. So let's go. Oh, are they even open right now? Slight angle change. They are open. They opened at 10, so 1 minute ago exactly. I'm just gonna put my headphones on, mind my business in there. Big money moves. Ooh, yeah. Yes, I recognize I said I was only gonna get 1 book, but I did a lot better than I could have. There was a point where I had 4 books in my hand, so walking out with only 2, I'm gonna take as a big W. I just want to show you the books that I picked up. I got the Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. And let's see here, Satan Tango by Laszlo. I feel like I'm gonna butcher this name, so Laszlo K is what I'm gonna say. This is the first one that caught my eye, and I actually carried this around the entire store. I just knew immediately that I wanted this, and then I was back and forth with the Metamorphosis and a lot of other books, but I did end up choosing this, and I did make a very, very, very long list of books that I want to read. I found a lot in there. I almost, at the very end of there, they almost got me with The White Book by Hong Kong. And I was this close to cashing out with it, but I couldn't get a third book after saying that I was only in there for 1. But yeah, this is a relatively small book, And then this one is a little chunkier, so I'm excited to read these. If I start this today, I feel like I could finish it by today, because also it's like not super like text heavy either. Like it's set up in a way that the font is pretty large and it doesn't take up a ton of page space. So I think this is going to be a really fast read. I mean, and honestly, the cover is kind of really cool. I'm really excited. And it's like insect legs, you know, and like the kind of body almost of an insect. So brilliant, amazing design, so cool. I was looking at some fantasy and sci-fi stuff too, and I did take note of a few things. So at the beginning of the year, I bought this reading journal, and it basically lets me document all of the books that I'm reading. So I'll show some of like the inside pages, but basically I just wanted to update this because obviously today I read most of the Metamorphosis. I'm not sure if I'm gonna finish that tonight actually just yet. I might finish it tonight, but I also might make that just a tomorrow activity. We'll see. It's just about 6 o'clock now, so it is getting pretty late. So that'll really depend, but either way, this is like a day read. Like that's why I got it. Like it's a novella. It's a short book, and I wanted to just have something short and sweet to read today, which is why I picked it up in the first place. And so I'm just going to jot this down into the reading journal, and then I'll just show you like all of the inputs and the pages, because there's a ton of different like almost like interactive things you can do in this journal, and I do really want to show it off because it is like super cool, and it makes honestly like the activity of reading and like documenting what I'm reading so much better. I used to use just Goodreads, and that app is a nightmare. It feels archaic to use, so I just went back to writing down the books that I'm reading with this journal, and I'm so happy that I did that. So I'm going to just write about the Metamorphosis, how I'm feeling about it so far, and I will check back in. One thing I just remembered that I wanted to do. So oh, you just got a really good forehead shot. On the books finished page, so on like the actual like spines of these books, I wanted to fill in the spine with like the color that the book is. The Vegetarian is a red book, so I'm gonna get my red colored pencil and I'll fill in the spine of it red. And then like Buy Yourself the Damn Flowers is a pink book, so I'll do the same with the pink. And then this one, maybe I'll just do like a yellow on it because it has like a yellowish tint to it. I'm gonna do that real quick. I'll show you what it looks like afterwards because that is something that I wanted to do. And I had lost these colored pencils, and then I found them the other day while I was cleaning my room. And so I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to fill that in. That's perfect. So I'm glad I just remembered that I had that moment. Okay, I'm gonna fill this in. Here she is in all her glory. We have the 3 books of 45 so far. You know what? That's okay. Only 42 more to go. That's progress. That's progress. I am going to leave this reading journal stuff off here. As like the year progresses and I read more books and stuff, I will definitely like make this like an update thing, because I think that could be really fun, just like sharing my reading journal and like how I rated books, like how my interests have shifted throughout the year. I think is really interesting. I found a few nonfiction books today at the bookstore that I thought was really cool. And I am really excited to get those and read those. I think it was Alexandria, and then, oh, no, that just went under my bed. Okay, I'm not gonna get that right now. But I can't remember the other one off the top of my head at the moment. But I'm really excited to do more nonfiction stuff this year, honestly. I'm not entirely sure, like, obviously the 2 books that I found today are more like history-based kind of books, but that's not like specifically what I'm specifying when I do nonfiction. I also want to like do more like financial literacy, and some just kind of like mental health or like philosophy stuff as well. I think I would find really interesting, and it's just something that I've never explored, and I do want to explore it. So I will also be checking out those sections at the bookstore. I think I'm gonna finish the Metamorphosis tomorrow. I think I did decide on that as well. So I will catch you tomorrow. I just finished the Metamorphosis, and oh my god, what a interesting, to say the least, experience. That's definitely something that I am going to take a little bit to unpack. I filled out basically this entire just like thoughts and quotes page, and there came a point where I ran out of space to write things, so I couldn't actually write down thoughts anymore. But that's okay. That's okay. It just means that it was a really good book. But yeah, wow. Definitely gonna be sitting and digesting that one for a little bit. It's something that this book, especially, if you're someone who gets like overwhelmed by like large topics, this is definitely not one, even though it is such a short book. You should like take your time reading it so that you can actually like take it in. For me, when I'm reading something that's like super absurdist and metaphorical, I understand the story better when I kind of consume a lot of it all at once. And so reading this in such a short period of time was beneficial for me, but I feel like that's not the case for a lot of people. So don't get caught up in the fact that it is literally 126 pages. At least the copy that I have is that long. Take your time with it. Like, this is a book that needs, some time taken. And that's why I'm also just going to sit for a little bit and just ruminate and really think on everything that I just read, because there's so much there to unpack. Like, you can't absolutely take that story at face value, and it was literally just a guy who wakes up one day and is a cockroach and like no, I will always pull the English teacher route and find the subtext and what is written in between the lines. That's my favorite thing to do. I will take a little magnification glass and I will investigate. So that's honestly what I'm doing now. But yeah, I'm really glad that I read that. And it's kind of also going on my theme for reading a different book from like a different country. So this was like a German book, Buy Yourself the Damn Flowers, English, and obviously The Vegetarian was Korean. So I do want to like get a little bit of a story from just different parts of the world. I love like just seeing how literature is kind of approached by different cultures and different just like groups, and it just kind of really it really enriches the reading experience for me. So that was really cool. We're going to Hungary next, which is really cool. I'm going to fill in these 3 sections that are empty now. So it's, what did you think of the book? What was the most interesting, intriguing, challenging, or surprising? And then what are you going to take away from the book? So yeah, that's just these 3 sections here at the bottom. I'm going to fill those out, and then I might just like discuss that real quick, and then that'll really be it. Willow, or not Willow, Boone is going a little bonkers in the back, so you might see her just scurrying around back there. But as I said, and immediately she's just like posts up. Whatever, I'll leave that cracked in case she comes by. I can take her out. But I just finished filling in this section, and so I just wanted to go over this. So what did you think of the book? Where do I start? I feel like I'm going to be in thought, making more and more realizations about this story in the coming days. Trauma, capitalism, family, physicality. There are so many reads and... Oh, hello. Boone, she's... Oh! Okay. She wants the pillow. Shocker. I'm incredibly happy that this is one that I decided to pick. I almost put it back to get The White Book by Hong Kong, which I know I would have also loved that book if I had gotten it, but still, the Metamorphosis, like, I don't think I would have remembered it had I not gotten it yesterday. So I am very, very happy that I picked it up. There are genuinely so many reads you can get out of this story, which is all the more impressive with like how small it is. Like, this is such almost, I don't want it to sound like too like manufactural, but it's so efficient what it's discussing and trying to portray. And I like really appreciate that, because it takes such a like fine, not like penmanship, but like a writing skill that like Kafka absolutely slayed down, killed it. All right, what was the most interesting, intriguing, challenging, or surprising? I think the most like obvious read in this story is that of capitalism. Obviously, it's a door-to-door salesman, which is like such a pure form of capitalism, and that does not go unnoticed. And him literally turning into a cockroach, like, yeah, those feelings are very obvious, and that does not go over the head whatsoever. But I more so just loved thinking about just how the Samsa family interacted with each other, like the sibling relationship between Gregor and Greet, I think. I don't know, Greet? I don't know. The sibling relationship, the mother-to-son relationship, and the father-to-son relationship, they were all handled in such like different ways that like made the end all the more just kind of like jarring to experience when he dies. Which is, yeah, it's interesting. It's really interesting is all I want to say, because I also like just read the story. Like, it's so short, and it was not an expensive book. Like, even if you do an audiobook of it, which, listen, I will always advocate for physical media, always. But I mean, I still listen to audiobooks, obviously. Like, everybody listens to audiobooks. So if that's your preferred, like, just book intake, do the Metamorphosis. Like, it's so good. What are you taking away from this book? This book was published in 1915, and it has such a, I want to say like dreary and almost like pessimistic look on capitalism. And I guess like it could be just that I don't actually like know the history of capitalism all that well itself, but I feel like the pessimism is so modern to like how we feel about it now, which really did interest me a lot. So for right now, at least, that's just kind of what I wrote down there. I know that there's going to be a lot more that I take away from this book. I mean, I wrote down like in the thoughts and quotes, just like some of the parts that weren't like actual quotes from the book, most of my thoughts. The discussion surrounding the ability to eat seems representative of one's participation in the structures of capitalism, increasingly relevant in chapter 3 when the lodgers are introduced. yeah, there's this whole other kind of subplot, I guess, about Gregor's ability to eat and how he eventually just like can't anymore. And I think that is like he just ends up starving to death in the end, because they do make a point to talk about when they find his just, you know, body, that he was like very skinny. And I mean, like, he's a cockroach, but like he was like very skinny and like weak. So I think he does starve to death. And in comparison to that, when they're talking about his inability to eat, there are the lodgers who are renting a room from the family's apartment so that they have some money intake. And they're represented in not a grotesque way, but in a little more indulgent, maybe, and picky about the food, because they are active kind of members of capitalism, and they therefore are not only like maintain the ability to eat, but in fact they are picky about it and are like a little more like, is this steak to my liking? Are these potatoes soft enough? You know, just like shit like that. So I liked that part of it. And then also, just kind of in that similar vein, Gregor's family replicating the mechanisms of a capitalistic society, especially when the lodgers are introduced in chapter 3. Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts. I actually have a little bit of a headache because I have a lot of thoughts. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep kind of, you know, steeping in what I just experienced reading. Later tonight, I'm going to start Satan Tango. I really hope I'm saying this right. I'm really excited about this. It is a bit of a thicker book. How many pages are in here, actually? I guess like the chaptering on this is a little interesting, but the amount of, I guess, oh, whoa, there's like a bunch of blank pages here in the end. Interesting. But it looks like 282 pages, numbered pages. So this will be fun. I'm gonna leave this here. Thank you so much for watching. This is kind of, I guess, well, I did make my Hunger Games video last summer, and that was really fun to make, and that's, I guess, my first book video, but of recency, this is my first one with the Metamorphosis. So I am still kind of finding the style that I want to do these book videos in, but having like, I think involving my reading journal into it is honestly helping structure this a lot. So I think the inclusion of this is going to be essential and is going to keep happening. And then how I just kind of include the book and sections of the book and stuff is what I'm going to play around with a little bit. So these might change out a little bit. See, like, I'm just going to see like how the structuring, especially while I'm editing this, will work. And yeah, a bunch of stuff for me to play with and deal with. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And I will just catch you in the next one. See you later.